He rode into the city on a white horse. White, the color of mourning. He had already decided what was going to happen. In the 6 weeks that followed, between 40,000 and 60,000 of his own subjects were killed, not by an invading army, by their own Tsar. The question is not whether Ivan the Terrible was a monster. It is how a man with genuine strategic intelligence convinced himself that terror was governance, and why it destroyed everything he built. When Ivan was crowned the first Tsar of all Russia in 1547, he was 16 years old. The country he inherited was encircled by powers that had been consuming Russian territory for generations. The boyars, Russia's hereditary nobility, had spent Ivan's childhood ruling in his name. They were not advisors. They were competitors for power. They had looted the treasury, ignored the borders, and treated the throne as a tool. Most histories skip Ivan's early reign entirely and go straight to the terror. That is a mistake, because the reformer and the monster were the same man. Understanding one requires understanding the other. That is what this story is actually about. Every authoritarian ruler has faced the same question Ivan faced. When power feels fragile, does terror hold it together? Or does it guarantee the very collapse it was designed to prevent? Ivan's reign is one of history's most complete answers to that question. His father died when Ivan was 3. His mother died when he was 7, probably poisoned. The forensic evidence is serious enough that most historians treat it as likely. From the age of 8, Ivan lived essentially as a prisoner of the boyar families who were ruling Russia using his name. He wrote about it later that the boyars had shown him no human warmth, that he had learned to trust no one and catalog every slight. He was being trained without knowing it to survive in a court where weakness was an invitation. By 1552, Ivan had conquered the Kazan Khanate, the most significant Russian military victory in over a century. He had modernized the legal code. He had created Russia's first standing army, expanded trade routes. He was celebrated across Europe as a capable, reforming monarch. This is the Ivan that history prefers to skip. Then, in 1553, Ivan fell gravely ill. He believed he was dying. He demanded the boyars swear loyalty to his infant son. Most of them refused. Ivan watched it happen from his sickbed, powerless. What happened in that room changed everything that followed. Ivan recovered. He said nothing about what he had seen. He returned to governing, but he had catalogued every face that hesitated. He forgot nothing. He was waiting. In August 1560, his wife Anastasia died. Ivan loved her in a way he loved almost no one. He believed it was the boyars who poisoned her. This time he did not wait. The dismissals came first, then arrests, then executions. Ivan dismantled the chosen council and began surrounding himself with men who owed him everything and had no power base of their own. The logic was clear. If everyone around you is replaceable, you never have to trust anyone. In December 1564, Ivan did something that paralyzed Russia. He left. He sent letters back to the city accusing the boyars of treason. Then he stopped and waited for Russia to come to him. It worked. Without a Tsar, Russia had no military command and no functional government. Within weeks, a delegation rode out to beg him to return. Ivan returned on one condition: the Oprichnina. Its members, the Oprichniki, answered only to Ivan. They rode black horses. They carried brooms and severed dog heads as symbols. For 7 years, the Oprichnina rewrote Russia's social order. Ancient boyar families were destroyed in an afternoon. The logic was coherent. If terror is total and arbitrary, no one will dare move against you. Even the church tried. Metropolitan Philip publicly condemned Ivan from the pulpit in 1568. He called the Oprichnina an abomination before God. Ivan sat in silence. Philip was dragged from the altar within weeks and later strangled on Ivan's direct order. In 1570, Ivan moved on Novgorod. The archbishop was brought before him in chains. The verdict had been decided before anyone left Moscow. For 5 weeks, the Oprichniki moved through the city, entire merchant families. The clergy, children. It was not a massacre out of control. It was policy. Novgorod never recovered its population or its commercial function. Ivan had eliminated a threat, but he had also destroyed Russia's economic base. He funded memorial services for people he had ordered killed. Whether this was genuine remorse or political calculation, historians still disagree. In 1571, the Crimean Tatars sacked Moscow. The commanders who would have organized a defense had been killed by the Oprichnina. By 1581, Ivan's eldest son, Ivan Ivanovich, was 27. During an argument, Ivan struck his heir in the head with an iron staff. Ivan Ivanovich died 4 days later. Ivan spent days beside the body, refusing to leave, tearing at his own hair and beard. Ivan died in March 1584, playing chess. He looked 20 years older. What he left behind was not a secured Russia, but the time of troubles. The time of troubles was the structural consequence of Ivan's decisions. He had systematically eliminated every institutional check on his power. Ivan's reign established a template, the idea that the ruler and the state are identical, and any threat to one is a threat to both. The question his reign leaves open is whether there is any version of absolute power that does not, eventually, consume the thing it was built to protect. If this is the kind of history you have been looking for, serious, precise, without shortcuts, subscribe. History Republic is supported by you.